Thank you. Very, very interesting. And the segue to the next segment is pretty obvious because we're going to look into research done on the members or additional research. There's 2 surveys been done, 2018 and 2023, which of course is very, very recent and new knowledge. I'll briefly introduce the people behind this research. So we have Hanna Korsberg. She's a member of and a former chair of the Teachers Academy, works as a professor at the theater research. Then Eeva Pyörälä was also mentioned. I don't know, the idea mother of Teachers Academy. Do you accept the title? She works as a university pedagogy teacher in Faculty of Science. Then we have Liisa Peltonen, who's a university lecturer in physiology, Faculty of Medicine. And then we have Tiina Airaksinen, who's the current chair of the Teachers Academy Board and also Vice Dean for Academic Affairs at the Faculty of Arts. So please welcome the 4 up here. Tässä on tämä. Ja siinä on mikit.
Tämäkö se oli? Onko väliä?
Molemmat.
All right. Good afternoon to everyone. It's great to be here, and congratulations for all of us, whether you are a member or friend or whatever of the Teachers Academy. It's great to be here. Okay, some ideas what we have been doing, not only me, but when these colleagues did their first survey on Teachers Academy members, that was 5 years ago. And now we have conducted a new one, so we will have a little bit discussion of what have been done and what do we feel about. So aims of this presentation are very brief in that sense because we have 20 minutes before Erik will drag us out. And so we will sort of emphasize from our perspective, although Auli and Sari very nicely defined what are the goals and framework of the Teachers Academy. And then also we discuss also the theoretical framework, because of course that's the basement of all research. And then we have the surveys and some preliminary results of that. And then we think of a little bit that how have we achieved those goals that have been mentioned, and what kind of future challenges do we have? And that's something that we will come back to a bit later. But just a few things here. That aims of the Teachers Academy, like it says, was to improve the appreciation, the value of the teaching and status of the teaching in our academic community. And it's really nice that we have been able to spread the word to other community as well. And like has been said, to improve the quality of teaching and learning as well as students' learning outcomes. But it has been really important, and I personally emphasize this, step for excellent teacher's career. I'm not saying that I'm not the excellent research, but it has been important to my career. And that's something that is very interestingly reflected to in our survey, that how it has helped us. And I will just emphasize the last thing, and then I give the floor to the colleagues, that the most important issue is that has been already mentioned, that it provides us this interdisciplinary community. And I think that's the core of the Teachers Academy. Floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Tiina. And I truly want to emphasize the last one. As Sari and Auli told us, that it was a kind of an innovation we had, that we want to add it at the community level or communities of practice into the criteria of the academy. And that has been very influential. The other thing was that, in our Teachers Academy covers the whole university. It's not a faculty-level academy. It covers all the disciplines, all campuses and faculties throughout Helsinki University. Okay, let's move onwards. So these are the 3. I picked 3. You said 2 theoretical frameworks of our study, and they also match very well with the frameworks of the academy. Scholarship of teaching and learning was already explained. Community practice is a social learning theory by Jean Lave and Etienne Wenger, and it emphasizes that you bring together people with different backgrounds, and they all learn from each other and with each other, and produce something new, unexpected, something which has never been there before, and that is very important. I think that's one of the foundations of this academy. Then I've been very interested in qualitative data on teachers' meaningful conversations about teaching and learning, and that was partly because at Lund University in Sweden, when we established the academy, they had been studying that theme, and that is part of our research as well. You've answered open-ended question on that. Okay, these are a couple of studies we have published. First about the applicants in the first round, and then the other one, a comparison between the applicants of the first round and after 5 years. And I think we were quite genius. But at the moment when we decided to have a 5-year anniversary jubilee, we decided to collect data, and now we collected the same data. So that was fantastic. Now we are showing you some of our results, preliminary results. So we collected the data in 2018 and 2023. I'm sorry, I have to change my spectacles because I don't see anything. This is always a problem. I have 5 pairs of spectacles. Okay, now I'm just choosing between the two. Okay, we created a survey, online survey, which basically asked questions and had statements of all the aims of which we've heard about, all the aims of the Teachers Academy, how they had been reached. And then in the last survey, we also added some questions about the pandemic. And we also have very interesting open-ended questions there, which we haven't yet analyzed. We had good rate of respondents, over 50% in both, 60 or 55% in both. Most respondents were women, very long teaching experience and extensive university pedagogical training. And this is something I'm going to show you the figures. One interesting thing there is, sorry, where should I? Well, if you just look at the position, you can see, rather not just touch that. Okay, you see that 1/3 of respondents today are senior lecturers in university pedagogy or senior lecturers in clinical, senior clinical lecturers. And also the number of professors has increased. That's an interesting change that has taken place in 5 years. Then we looked at the appreciation of teaching in the academic community. And the responses were mainly very positive, just like they were the last time. Not as positive as 5 years ago, but very positive. Especially, they were very positive at the university level. And there was slight, you can look at the other levels, the faculty level and unit level. They are slightly kind of less positive, and I think that's one thing we think about a take-home message. How could we improve that? The appreciation of teaching at those levels. Then the impact on the academic career. the majority, sorry?
Can I talk about this?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Sort of, we are improvising. Yeah, I think now we talk about the academic career.
Yeah.
And of course, it was then when we started, and it's still now a very important step in our career, the membership, the fellowship of Teachers Academy. So of course, well, when we think about it, it's actually it is a reward system after all. The application process is quite competitive, like everything in academic world nowadays. It is so, and then we meet the criteria, and the criteria are carefully planned and designed, defined by the experts, the educational experts. So when you meet these criteria, of course, you achieved something. So that is absolutely, it's definitely a step forward, but it also might be a step up. And this is the second question that or the proposition that we made. It's how has Teachers Academy promoted the fellows' academic career? In that, we can see good developments, but it's not so rosy. The picture is absolutely not so rosy as we would like it to be. I'll put this slide here. Oh, no, here.
Okay.
Oh,
Wow.
I made it. It's an achievement. This one, upper right. So you can see that there's about 10% increase of those answers that people think that this fellowship promoted one's academic career. But there is still these ones and twos, sort of a stagnant phase, that it doesn't promote everybody's careers. And I would like to know why. Why is this? And of course, it is not about our sort of individual thing. It is not an individual thing. It's not even about Teachers Academy. It's also about university. Universities' policies and all the changes that are happening in a society. So, and funding, about research funding and things like that. So it's many factors that influence this thing. And then this increased, how has Teachers Academy increased the appreciation of teaching merits? There is a good development during these past 5 years. It's a good one, and we can think about as individuals. Has the membership or fellowship promoted has our merits been taken account when we are applying our sort of academic positions? Maybe we have been successful in this sense, but it's also our members, the members of Teachers Academy, have been serving. As Rector said, Sari said, we've been serving in many in the degree programs. People are leading those degree programs, and then we are serving in these committees that are sort of assessing those people who are applying for academic positions. So in that way, we can say that the appreciation, these might be the mechanisms.
Yes, and I may add that fellows expressed challenges in the teacher's career path in the open-ended answers in the recent survey. So that's something that we need to look more carefully into, those open-ended answers.
All right, so move onwards. Let's move to networking and interdisciplinary communities, which was one of the criterias and aims of the Teachers Academy. And when you look at this, when you look at the figure, you can really see that it has been a successful success story. It has really offered teachers an interdisciplinary community of practice and peer support. And not only I've been not so thoroughly analyzed all the open-ended questions, but there are references not only to the whole of Teachers Academy, but to smaller communities of practice, which have been just, members of Teachers Academy have shared common interest on a topic, such as assessment and emotions, interdisciplinarity, supervision, working life, relevance, and all sorts of topics within the university. So Teachers Academy is not only a huge community, but within the Teachers Academy and Hyper members, we have found each other by being interested in the same topics and creating something new. And quite many of these groups have, in fact, after 5 years, have produced something scholarly. So it takes time. It doesn't happen in a year, but it takes some time. Then we looked at the open-ended questions about teachers' meaningful conversations. And this is the same question which we have repeated 3 times. First in 2013, 2018, and now this year. Interestingly, this is very similar result as in all international studies. The most important meaningful conversations about teaching and learning take place with your close colleagues. And that's very important. It is important, in fact, that you have close colleagues with whom you can really talk about teaching and learning, because I remember in the first survey there was somebody who said, I have nobody except my foreign colleagues. So it's really important to kind of promote that kind of collegial discussions, often in informal spaces such as coffee rooms, corridors, wherever. But Teachers Academy has provided new colleagues as well. And that's important to see that Teachers Academy is the second important place where you can, or the people with whom you talk or you have meaningful conversations takes place in Teachers Academy. It has dropped because, I would say, because of the COVID. We haven't really, the time is still in us. We are still a bit, wondering what to do. But Tiina, you as the chair of the board, you will succeed in creating the lively discussions again. Yes. I would like to pinpoint there that the conversations with students seem to go down. There are not so many. They be partly and mainly might be due to COVID. But there might be other reasons as well. Because we have gone through so huge changes at the university. And Hanna, would you tell an example of that, for example, from your?
Yes, I think that some of the changes have to do with this iso pyörä, the renewal of the curriculum, because there has been discussions with students that not all the students do not find the colleagues teaching in the same degree program so close to themselves than earlier, when they have the kind of the colleagues from their own discipline, when the collaboration between the students and the personnel was more on the disciplinary level rather than on the degree program level. And this is something that the students have been expressed that they would like to have more contact with the degree, not in the degree programs, but in the disciplinary level.
Yeah. I think that's something we have to discuss later on. And then,
Ladies.
Yep, okay.
What's
Almost done.
okay?
Okay, then we move to distance learning.
Okay, about the distance learning and Teachers Academy, I think this is something that we know already. We are just a bunch of teachers, and I think our reflections on the remote teaching is quite similar as other teachers also. It's quite sort of. I don't think that they are very interesting, these results, but the role of Teachers Academy, it's not so big in this issue. But I think universities as a whole, was very active during pandemic, and we sort of turned inside, and our solutions for remote learning were quite local. So what functioned well in medical faculty might have not functioned so well in humanities, for example. So in that respect, maybe the role of Teachers Academy during the pandemic wasn't so important in this respect. But now, last but not least, it's Teachers Academy and student learning. I think student learning is in the very core of our teachers' profession. It's the main thing. And we are sort of, and we do wish that students wish to learn, and we wish them to learn. So we have a common goal there. So, and the first proposition was that the activities of Teachers Academy have promoted the quality of students' learning in my own teaching. So it's a very personal proposition, and we feel very strongly about it. So Teachers Academy made some impact on that one. And also within our disciplinary or scientific fields, the impact was good. And this is very strong. This I like, the last one, that Teachers Academy really spread this teaching practice, good practices across the university and faculties.
Okay, to summarize, in fact, you can say that several of the academic key goals have been achieved in 10 years. And it has really influenced the appreciation of teaching, but we should still further enhance it in units and faculties. It has disseminated the best practices in teaching and learning across the academic community, and being a TA fellow has been a very important step for the fellows. But fellows also reported challenges in the teacher's career path. And in the 5 years, the interdisciplinarity and TA community, Teachers Academy has really created very fruitful communities of practice on various topics, which has successfully advanced collaboration across campuses and produced scholarly presentations and journal articles, which is good. I mean, that's lovely. So here's the literature, some literature, and we end up here thanking you for your attention.
Thank you.